How you doing today? Just affiliates, so all the frame pieces are my originals. I paint oil on the back of tempered glass, incorporate gold and silver leaf. And then unframed pieces are my prints on acrylic. Joshua Serafin from Huntington Beach, California.
And tell us about your pretty amazing work you have here.
Yeah, so I've been painting for over 20 years, and I've been painting on the glass for like 11 plus years now. And how this came about was I had a professor in college, a painting professor, that said get a piece of tempered glass for your palette. And you could scrape it, use it won't saturate paint. You could use that for years. So I used that probably 8 to 10 years in my studio before I started painting on glass. I was just doing a routine scrape off the palette, and I saw the other side of the palette, and it was just like a beautiful mess of paint. I'm like, that would be insane to do a painting. So that's kind of what brought me to painting on glass. So what I do is I use traditional oil paint, and I build up thin layers on the back of a sheet of tempered glass. So it's like my canvas. And throughout the process, I can go anywhere from 10 to 15 layers depending on the piece. I'll start to add my gold and silver leaf, and I'll mix my oils with the leafing to get the textures and to play with light. I just enjoy doing underwater pieces, doing stuff that I paint, or that I catch and that I see underwater. Yeah, and all the frame ones are my originals, and then from my originals I have them professionally photographed, so I can get prints on acrylic. And the photographer shoots them in sections, combines them so it gets the detail and the color match, and I can blow these up as big as the originals, and it just holds really true to the original.
Why do you do prints on acrylics opposed to something else?
I like the acrylic. I like the thickness of acrylic, and I like how it mimics my original glass. Years ago I did mess with the metal, which I like too, but I just kind of wanted to stick with one medium, one surface, and is acrylic. And I just like how it pops.
How long does a piece like this take you to
So when
complete?
I'm in production, I have to work on a few pieces because they take about 2 months, sometimes 3 months on the bigger pieces. Because as I build layers on the glass, I have to let each layer dry to add another layer. So some pieces, depending on the weather, some of these pieces, like here's a good example. This has got every bit of 15 to 20 layers on this octopus.
15 to 20 layers
Yes.
of oil.
Of oil paint, very thin oil that I've let dry over time. And depending on like the weather, a layer can dry in 2 days, a layer can dry in like 2 weeks. So just depending on the weather and the color and and how it adheres to the glass, they take time. So I have to work on a body of work to get anything done, or I'd be sitting here with one paint. And plus I like to have an open palette, so I can kind of let that cross-pollinate with pieces that are sitting, and I kind of, that octopus could use this orange or green, or that whale piece could use this, this phthalo blue. Or
When did you first start painting?
I first started painting seriously probably in like 96, 95,
Wow.
Always been kind of into art and that kind of thing, but, hitting it hard, starting to paint on canvas and just learning techniques and, not really having a style, but just keeping it going until I found my style.
And why do you only paint marine life as opposed to forest life or?
I've done like commission pieces, animals, and, mountainscapes and stuff like that, but I just, the way it makes me feel, like, just going to the beach, going in the water, outside the water, I never get tired of painting what the ocean and beach has to offer. And I just seem to constantly find new compositions, new animals. I enjoy the soothing colors of the blues and the turquoise and the greens. Go through like a sap green, kind of mix it up. But you never know, someday I might branch off to something else, but over the last several years it's just been a lot of sea life and beach culture.
Which one would you say sells the most out of all the animals?
It seems to fluctuate like year after year. I would say right now maybe whales and octopus. But then again, like I feel like I'm been painting more of those the last year, so I have, you know, my body of work, you know, contains a little more on the whales and octopus side, so I have more to offer. I mean, turtles are, everybody always seems to, you know, if you've seen a turtle, gravitate to a turtle. I mean, seeing a turtle underwater makes you feel amazing. It's like, you know, it's like a spiritual thing, dude. It's like you see a turtle and then you see art with a turtle and you gravitate towards it, and certain pieces you connect with. Schools of fish, I don't know what it is, but it's a soothing, that's another soothing subject in the way that I can compose it. And seahorses, you know? Seahorse. I don't see a lot of seahorse art out there, so maybe because it's, you know, something different as well. But
do you have to get in a creative zone before you begin painting?
I mean, now I've been doing it so long, it's just part of my like life. Like, you know what I mean? I don't even think twice. I just wake up and I got to go to the studio. You know, so I'm never not motivated. You know, there's an occasional day. I think everybody, no matter what you do in life, there's that occasional day where you're like, shit, I don't know, you know, if I can do this. But once you push yourself and you get in there, you just get in the zone. But for the most part, I look forward to going into the studio every day and creating something new. I mean, that's what makes it. That's why I like painting originals. I specialize in originals, because whenever I come up with a new original, and then I get the gratification of someone that falls in love with it and connects with it and walks away, that motivates me to want to do another one. This one I was just like, what do pelicans feel? I mean, that salt air hitting them 24/7, the plunging right into the seawater. Like, I was just trying to get this as crusty and salty, and just try to like almost get like, what does it feel like to be a pelican? Like, and try and visually put that on glass, if that makes sense, man. But that is kind of where that derives from. I'm not just going for like this picture's pelican. To me, it's way more.
Hey, you do get that vibe.
Yeah, so way more than
so you did a very good job.
Way more, there's a portrait of a pelican. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and the red, just this stroke of red to me is just how bold pelicans are. I mean, if you're ever surfing in the water, how they plunge straight down 90 miles per hour, get the fish, flip the fish over head first so they don't choke on the fins. They literally flip it in one go. And now he's just sitting there just getting beat up by the salt. And it's an ultimate seabird, just rustic, you know?
Well, it's unique. Yeah. It's just stunningly beautiful. Look at the colors. Absolutely just.
And have you ever been commissioned by a corporation or a nonprofit to do a custom piece?
Corporation, gosh, I've done some pieces for businesses. I mean, you know, like restaurants and like, but I get commissions quite a bit for, you know, households, that kind of thing too. People commission me to do, you know, they'll give me a picture or they'll see something they like that, you know, in different colors, or something that has sold, or put a little twist on it, give me an idea that I can run with. But I seem to be that artist that paints mainly for households. You know, it's just how it's been for my career so far.
And what's the biggest form of flattery you receive from people? Like, are there people that say it changed their life?
You know what? Last weekend, a woman came into my booth in Solana Beach and literally started crying. Just because of the connection she had with the piece, the colors, and just, so it's random, some stuff like that. I mean, people just like, they're blown away. First of all, they don't know what I'm doing, you know, because they've never seen it before. It's glass paintings with gold, silver leaf, so I go through and I tell them what's happening, you know, what I'm doing, and then it's just certain connections with certain pieces. I don't know if it's just composition or how I'm putting it together, like, you know, kind of tying maybe family into it, and the colors, and just, you know, I think that is the best gratification that I've gotten over the years. It's just that like, major connection that people get, and some of them are just walking by, they're not even expecting it. They're not, you know, I'm not going to they're not like, I'm going out to a gallery today, or I'm going out to see specific work. They literally just stumble across it, which is the best. because they're not expecting it.
That was me.
Yeah, I mean, you literally connect in a way you've never connected with art. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? You have a certain connection with a piece that you just feel like you could get, a whole another energy throughout your house by putting it on the wall. And it's great because it's so funny sometimes. Someone will get one original, and I don't know what it is with the energy on that piece, and they'll they come back for another one, man. It happens time and time again, and it's like they tell me, they're like, this is just we don't know either. It's just something that makes us feel good, So that's for me. That's what the bottom line is.
Do you think that's a human's natural connection to just nature in general? And
I think it's a combination. Yeah, I think it's something like when you're out in nature and you experience a certain moment. Like there was a woman that was out at a spa. She was seeing the story today, and she was sitting by a pool, and everybody had left, and then she got the margarita, and she's sitting there in this infinity pool. I don't know where she was, but the ocean's right there, and then all of a sudden she had 45 minutes of humpbacks just doing their thing, breaching, and she was just like, this is insane. So like she came in here and she had that connection. So I think it's when you're out in nature, you experience different things, and then it's almost like my work might help remind them of that time. That's what I try to do. I try to take an experience that I've had, and I literally try to put it on a visual format, and not trying to duplicate reality. I'm trying to do it through like emotion in an expressionistic way. It's like coming from like, how did I feel when I saw like those fish, or the turtle, or the seahorses and the hummingbirds. Like, let's try to portray that in a way like through feeling, instead of just trying to take a picture and then just duplicate the picture. That's kind of what photography's for. So I think maybe it's that connection that they got a little bit of that feeling back.
And I believe I heard earlier you say you've caught some of these animals?
Yeah, I try to paint what I catch or see. It's just
What do you mean, physically catch?
Yeah, like I painted my kayak. This was like literally this came from like a school of mackerel that just went flying under my kayak when I was fishing one day. Just a school of mackerel, like clear water, just right under my kayak, same composition, beady eyes. Well, that's kind of where that comes from. This is the classic surf perch. You go off any beach, Southern California, throw a light tackle out with a sand crab, you can catch a surf perch. So obviously the pelicans. I mean, we love pelicans. We see these everywhere. The occasional jellyfish surfing. But let's put some spin on that. It's like, let's give it some life and a little environment.
And how rare is this work on glass? Because I don't see it done by many artists.
I've only seen probably a couple artists that have done it over the years. But I've never seen it with this many layers and then applying some gold and silver leaf, and it's not in this not this style. I've never seen it so far, man.
Yeah, it seems like it makes the colors come out more, and just the beauty.
It's just the brilliance of the hue of the paint is literally just right against the glass, so it makes it real rich.
How do you know when you're done with a painting? Do you need a second opinion from your girlfriend or wife, or do you just know when it's done? You could just feel it.
I mean, nowadays it's like it's weird. I just know when to quit. You always have that piece or two that sits in the corner, and you dabble on it, or just sits and you just stare at it every once in a while, and that thing just does not get finished. But for the most part, I just know when it's done. I put the final touches on it, and it's like speaks to me, and done deal. And some finish quicker than others. Others might sit a little bit, but after painting for that many years, you just hope too that when to say when. Because I think a lot of amateur artists and beginners, I've talked to over the years, and that's one of the big things. They have a hard time knowing where the end is, or they overdo it. That's another thing too. Like, as an artist, you can overdo a piece. So, I kind of like, before even the painting starts, I have an idea of what I want, and then obviously through the process, it can change here and there, and it can change for the better. But I know, man, when when that final touch is on, yeah. This is one of those pieces, like I had no idea where I was going, and I was just applying layers, and now this whole had formed, and it was turning into this, like, it was just like an abstract piece, and I had like this eye that was forming here, so I kind of turned it into like this big fish eye, and these fish going into this other land, and this is titled Letting Go. And it's like, as a parent, I've got 2 daughters, and like it started becoming like I'm the parent overlooking my kids, and you gotta let them go. There's a time in life where you do have to let them go occasionally, and that's kind of where this all derived from. So this is one of those pieces that took a long time, you know, battled it for a while, but just ended as like actually one of my all-time favorite pieces.
Did you tell your daughters that?
Oh, yeah.
About this painting?
Yeah.
What'd they say?
I don't know if they completely like got it, you know. I mean, they are 17 and 16, and that was a few years ago, and it was kind of, I don't know if they got it yet, but someday they will, you know.
Have you ever got someone that commissioned your work to do, and then they didn't like it?
Years ago. I mean, I've painted a lot of commissions. There was one piece, I don't know, we were on the wrong page or something, I don't know what. They just wanted like a field of color, this abstract painting. And it was just, I don't know if it was like they wanted triangles and circles, and I was doing these swirly colors, and it was just, I showed it to them, and it was just, they didn't want it. It was something, it was just like, that's not what I talked about. So it was like this major confusion, I think, on communication. You know, it was a weird piece, but...
what do you do in that situation where you put in all that time and work?
Well, that was years ago, and I pretty much sat down and said, what do you want? Because actually, I feel like they didn't really know exactly what they wanted when they were talking to me about it, but it could have been my end too, but... just sat down and redid it.
What piece, if you can remember, took you the longest, or did you have to constantly go back to and retouch that you were not satisfied with?
I got it. Oh boy. That's a great question. There's a few. Like, I'm just like, there's probably a few pieces that like. Well, one of the longer pieces, I have, it's a print over there I did. So back in the day, I just did a whole surf art, which I would, you know, do, like I call it the essence of a gesture, blow up a surf maneuver, and those were on canvas. But it's
called the essence of a gesture.
Yes.
Oh, that's dope.
So it's
that's
like
dope.
If you're doing a floater or off the lip, I would focus in on the actual move, and that would be the majority of the painting, with abstract qualities around the painting. But so I did a glass painting years ago. And I took all of my gestures over the that was about 6 to 7 years. So there was 50 plus gestures, and I put it into one painting. So it was pretty much, you know, each gesture was small. The glass painting was like 80 inches by 40 inches.
Wow.
And it showed every gesture that I ever did. And it was all reverse painting on the glass, so it made it difficult. But that was like very time consuming, challenging. But rewarding at the same time, because it was like, for me, it was a look at like what I did in the past, and it was right there in front of me. But now that I'm talking about it, there was a piece that I got commissioned to do, I don't know how to explain it, but it was almost like a graffiti wall, like a huge painting on glass, and he gave me all these names and dates and little pictures to put into this painting and make it look like this massive graffiti wall. Meaning, he had meaning with every piece of information in the painting. And there was a lot of font and words and text. And being that's reverse painting, pain in the ass, because I had to do it backwards in reverse, so I had to figure out all the words, and that was just a nightmare. But kind of challenging at the same time, which kept me motivated to do it. And I was done. I was so stoked with the piece, and he just absolutely loved it. So,
is that piece on your website, so people could go check it out?
I believe it's on my website.
So go and check that out, ladies and gentlemen. It's dope.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate
man.
it.
Appreciate it.
Great work.